Secretary of State Antony Blinken praised his host in Costa Rica for their strong commitment to democratic values, but indicated good governance would also be crucial to tackle the root causes of migration to the U.S. from the poverty and violence-stricken Northern Triangle countries of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
We meet at a moment when democracy and human rights are being undermined in many parts of the region. We see this in the erosion of judicial independence, the crackdown on independent media and NGOs, the barring of political opponents, the quashing of anti-corruption efforts.
Tensions have flared between the Biden administration and the Northern Triangle countries after Congress released a State Department list last week identifying 16 current and former senior officials from these countries as allegedly involved in drug trafficking or corruption. In March, Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez's brother was sentenced to life in prison in New York for extensive drug trafficking after a trial that also implicated the president himself. Relations took another hit when El Salvador President Nayib Bukele fired the country's attorney general and Supreme Court magistrates. These developments, experts say, make it difficult for the Biden administration to administer the $4 billion in aid it has pledged to the region.
The Biden administration is rightly committed to addressing these structural problems in these countries that cause people to leave their villages and their homes and to flee to the United States. But to do so, it finds itself forced to work with governments that are not committed to the same values: transparency, fighting corruption, human rights, having transparent and effective democratic institutions. And so they're constantly having to recalibrate and balance how you engage in these countries.
In the face of food insecurity, exacerbated by 2 major hurricanes in the region last year, some experts say the Biden administration needs to think even bigger and broader than the usual foreign aid package.
And that's why I focus on trying to wrap the Caribbean basin into some of President Biden's bigger domestic initiatives. So he's talking about spending, gobs of money on infrastructure development, roads, ports, airports, et cetera, in the United States. Why not think of the Caribbean basin as our near abroad?
Blinken's visit paves the way for Vice President Kamala Harris' upcoming trip to the region, where she is tasked by President Joe Biden with addressing the root causes of migration. Last week, Harris invited business leaders to the White House to push for private sector investment in Central America.
We have MasterCard, who intends to partner across sectors to bring 5 million people in the region into the digital economy and to support 1 million small businesses. I'm excited to report that Microsoft will work with local partners to expand broadband access for up to 3 million people in the region in the next year. I'm pleased to report that Nespresso will expand coffee sourcing activities in Guatemala and start in Honduras and El Salvador.
Harris plans to visit Guatemala and Mexico next week on her first trip abroad as vice president. Migration from Central America is a thorny political issue for the administration, with Republicans faulting the president and vice president for failing to end what they call a crisis at the U.S. southern border. Cindy Sain, VOA News.